Hello and welcome to All for United. Yes, I'm on double duty. If you decided to pop over having watched WFC, hello. Lovely to have you here with us. And this, of course, you're here for the first time. Like, subscribe. Hope you enjoy your time here. And if you are a regular, somebody who's been here a lot, welcome back. The pub is open and it's time for us to get down and chat all about the Premier League. It's starting. It is so close. In 48 hours' time, it'll be half time, hopefully, as long as I haven't added like 75 minutes on at the end of the half, then we should be half time and hopefully about 2-0 up against Fulham. Now, if you want to hear about the Fulham game, get yourself onto one of our videos after you've watched this. It's going to be fantastic. There's already 100 of you have already watched it, which is superb. But a nice Fulham match preview with Beanie, there he is, and me, and of course Sarah from Fulham Lilies. So get yourself on there and do enjoy that one if you want to find out about the Fulham one. But we are looking way ahead. We're going to do our very best Nostradamus and see what we see coming in the Premier League this season. And yes, it is. And you should be here, and you're not. But make sure you do watch later because you're going to get an absolute roasting. Matt, lovely to have you here just below us. How the devil are you, sir? Have you had a good day?
Yeah, not so bad. It felt like a long day. But yeah, no, it's really good to be back. And like I say, plenty to discuss now. Season's nearly here. So yeah, exciting times, hopefully.
Yes, I know the feeling, very tired. Beanie, 2 shows one day, but one of them we did yesterday. So it's weird, isn't it? We've seen ourselves on the telly twice, but it has only been one today. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, good. Like Matt says, it's nice to be back in the thrust of it all now with the Premier League just around the corner. It's nice. Nice to have something to talk about as well.
Absolutely. And of course, it is our season ticket extraordinaire. He's sat where Dan would usually sit. So for this occasion, Andrew Wall is my right-hand man on my left-hand side. How are you doing today, Wally?
Yeah, I'm all good. Yeah, looking forward to being back at Old Trafford in a couple of days' time and seeing everybody. So hopefully we get the win against Fulham and can say we're top of the league for at least 12 or so hours before everyone else plays.
Absolutely that. You've all sort of alluded to it immediately as we've started, but the Premier League is back. Like, we are now in a situation where not keeping it too warm, I hope. Yeah. Well, at least he was here before past, Dan, so he might be keeping it at this rate. His timekeeping is a lot better than yours, and he was in the right room. Hello, Dave. How are you? You've all alluded to the fact that it's the start of the Premier League season. You're looking forward to it, but like when we're on the preview show, Beanie and myself, there was obviously lots of head versus heart conversation going on towards the end with the predictions, and Beanie was talking about it being a close game, and Sarah spoke about it being a close game. And of course, I sat there and went 3-0 United. And I don't know, like, Matt, where do you stand on pre-season at this point when you're just about to start again? Because it happens all the time. You take England as an example. We go into a tournament thinking we're going to be the World Cup winners, and then we get knocked out in the quarterfinals, and we're like, oh, never mind. And we all just rat on them and say how terrible England are. But as soon as the next tournament comes around, we go straight into that position of believing we're going to win it again. And I don't know, I kind of feel like I've been swept up in that. You'll see when we talk about the league tables later on. But are we right, do you think, as Manchester United fans, to be feeling optimistic before this season, or do you feel cautiously optimistic?
No, I actually weirdly do. Excuse me. I do actually feel optimistic, probably more so this season than any other season. Probably more so, since Fergie retired. I think the shift in the way the club are conducting themselves more than anything this summer's a vast improvement on previous years, which wasn't difficult. Let's all be honest. It couldn't have got much worse. But yeah, I think the optimism is definitely there amongst most fans. Obviously, you don't want to be overconfident going into the new season, because obviously it's first game, players are they fully match fit. You'd like to think that a good stage now after pre-season. But yeah, I think it's fresh faces in the team as well. I think will bring a lot of optimism to the fans. Like I say, it can only get better, and just hopefully the injuries don't play a huge role this season. I think that will keep people's hopes up a little bit more than they did so much last season. So yeah, like I say, going into the game on Friday, very optimistic, and obviously it's a perfect way to start at home at Old Trafford on a Friday night. So fingers crossed they can get over the line and be top of the league, like Andrew said, for a few hours.
No, absolutely. I think you can't disagree with that at all. Beanie, if we've ever been on your TikTok, we hear a few bits and pieces that you come out with before the season. But where are you sort of standing, looking ahead? Are you feeling the optimism? We've had some good signings come in. I mean, personally, as much as I'm optimistic, I'm still worried about that left back slot. I still have nervous sort of nightmares thinking about what could happen defensively. We saw it before the City game. The season hadn't even started, and we're already having to put square pegs into round holes. But are you optimistic? Do you feel like this could be a good season? Are you being sort of diplomatic when you say, well, it might be nice if we get top four? Or are you secretly sitting there like myself and thinking maybe, just maybe, a little title challenge could be on the cards?
I think a little bit like what Matt says. I think because the club are conducting themselves properly off the pitch, it feels like there's a lot of positivity around the club. We've got Rude in, which is a nice addition. Got some new signings in, new fresh faces. I think you get kind of swept in a little bit, don't you, to feeling, oh wow, United are back. This could be the year. But for me, I like to sort of have a step back and think, we finished 8th last season. The quality that we were producing last season was very poor. So can we bridge that gap from where we was to get in the top 4 again? I'm not sure. So as I said on the preview show with for the Fulham game, I think we're probably a top 6 team. But if things go our way, I think we probably do have enough to get in the top 4. So I wouldn't sound positive, but I'm not dreading it, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I'm going into the season with an element of positivity, I think.
And I think that's a really good thing that you're saying there. The fact that we're talking about we're going to go in a bit positively. But we are talking as people that occasionally visit Old Trafford, who get the opportunity to watch from afar sometimes. But let's go deep into the heart of Old Trafford with our season ticket holder, Mr. Andrew Wall, because, you've been there, you've seen it, you've done it, you've watched them, you're at the Community Shield. What are you feeling? What's the people that you talk to, the people that you sit with regularly? What are your group chats coming up with? How are you feeling prior to the season?
So I always go positive into season and more optimistic than pessimistic. So yeah, United have definitely got to recover from a disappointing league season, last time out. So if we can avoid, the injuries that we did from last season, then United's certainly going to be on the rise again. But yeah, compared to last season, the injuries, caused us, to push us down to 8th, and also could say one of the factors that's saved, Ten Hag's job as well as winning the FA Cup. So we probably are expecting to finish inside the top 4 this season and do well in the cups, and that's including the Europa League. Hopefully not you lose 14 league games across the season. So is a title challenge on that seems probably implausible, but there has to be a significant improvement on last season in the beginning months of the season as well. So it's got to be hopefully a bit more convincing and attractive football, maybe more goals, more wins, less defeats. United, we can't do what we did last season and have a negative goal difference. We can't. We've got to learn how to defend a lead as well. We can't let other teams come back, especially don't let mid-table teams come to Old Trafford and enjoy more chances than we're getting. And that's led to the opposition scoring more goals as well. But I'm quietly optimistic there's going to be, improvements, the players that we've signed as well. So it's almost like this is the first season, the Glazers are, their grip on the club is loosening, and Sir Jim is just, having his imprint on the whole club. So it's just hopefully there's going to be many more good times, for the next how many years. So yeah, looking forward to being there Friday, and seeing how well we start.
No, for sure. And I mean, it would be remiss of us not to talk about it. Obviously, if you watched our preview earlier on, we spoke about the fact that Wan-Bissaka had moved off to West Ham. And at that point, when we recorded the preview, obviously, it had not been confirmed, although we'd all seen the grainy pictures of Matthias Ligt and Mazraoui training with the first team, which kind of gave it away somewhat that they must have signed a contract. We need to talk about this. Now, Beanie, you sort of had your say on Wan-Bissaka already on this one, but about De Ligt and Mazraoui, are you feeling happy with those two signings? Do you think that is what we needed to bolster the defence? Do you feel like there's anything else that we particularly need?
I mean, we obviously need a left back, don't we? I mean, you've mentioned that already. The left side is massively needed. I'd be surprised if they're not looking at that, because Luke Shaw is made of glass, isn't he? I mean, it doesn't seem to take much to knock him out at the minute, so we definitely need a left side. Mazraoui, from what I've seen, he seems a good defender. He seems better going forward than Wan-Bissaka, but I'd be lying if I said I'd seen a lot of him, because I haven't. So I'm very much a sort of like, I'll have to wait and see with him. De Ligt, on the other hand, I have seen quite a lot of him from his Ajax days and his Bayern days. The partnership with him and Martinez, I think it has potential to be very good. Someone else I think that needs to maybe stay injury free. He looks like, he can carry a bit of a niggle, but he looks like one of these defenders that will just run through players. And yeah, it feels like there's two centre backs there that won't take any prisoners and really sort of get stuck in, which I think we've missed a little bit. That sort of hard defender that will just sort of put you in the stands. Do you know what I mean? But I'm excited to see them both. I think they'll both play on Friday as well. I don't think Ten Hag's going to have a huge amount of choice with Mazraoui, but maybe he will with De Ligt, but I don't think he will with Mazraoui. I think we'll probably see him on Friday. But yeah, I'm excited to see them both.
It's an interesting one. I mean, Matt Beanie says there that we could see both of those players play. I would be intrigued. Dave's already put here as well, which of the new signings are we all looking forward to seeing? There's only really 4 to choose from. We've got obviously Josh Rizexi up front, and the rest of them are all defenders. Lenny Euro we can't see, not unless we get ourselves to our nearest A&E. So the only way in which we can see him would be that, perhaps on Casualty. That's on BBC One, I don't know. But there's that. But then, of course, we've got the two that we're talking about. So feel free to answer Dave's question there, but equally, what would you see happening? Do you think they're both going to be thrown in? And if they are thrown in, where do you see Mazraoui playing? Do you see him being the left back, or do you see Dalot going over to the left and Mazraoui playing at the right? Because I think that's what's going to happen, Or
Yeah,
Amas might even play.
Yeah, it's possible. Like I said, we know Shaw's obviously definitely out for however long, which is no surprise. Obviously, Malassi is obviously not back till probably, is it like September as well? Possibly, I think he mentioned. So yeah, I'd expect Mazraoui to definitely probably start the game. I think that's pretty inevitable. But I do feel like he may start him at right back and Dalot at left back. I could be wrong. It could be the way around. But either way, I am glad we've brought someone like Mazraoui in. Like I say, Wan-Bissaka, as good as he was defensively, he's wasn't his strongest point going forward, which we all knew. So I'm hoping Mazraoui can bring something different. And obviously Dalot's obviously quite good going forward as well and get across into the box. So hopefully we've got a bit more service into the box this season. Obviously, once Højlund's back fit as well, obviously he needs a bit more service than what he got last season, because that was next to nothing. So yeah, it is exciting. But in terms of who I'm looking forward to seeing, I'd probably say all of them. I can't really pick one because they're all going to bring something different to the team. But I am very excited to see what De Ligt can do alongside Martinez. And I do actually think De Ligt will start as well. I wouldn't be shocked to see him start alongside Martinez. I think he'll go his strongest team and get off. Well, give him the best chance of getting off to a winning start, I suppose, because it's definitely what we need. We definitely need the 3 points Friday, because anything less than 3 points and everyone's on a down straight away. So yeah, fingers crossed. Strongest team, go for it. Get the 3 points. Get the job done.
Fair points. Fair points. I've got to ask you, Andrew, the same thing. Would you be worried if you rock up there on Friday and an hour beforehand the team gets announced, and obviously you see that on the All for United Twitter account and its lovely new set out graphic and all that sort of stuff. So you see that and you go, it's nice work there that Barry and Matt have done. How lovely. And as you're having a look at that and you go, that's wonderful. Isn't it nice to see how the channel's evolving? Would you also be sitting there and going, blimey, what are them two doing on the pitch? Or do you think that these signings are so vital to us that they kind of need to be thrown in at a deep end and given that opportunity? Because you know what people can be like. If they go in and there's a mistake by one of them, it could almost be I don't want to say the end of a career before it started, but you know what people are like. Oh my God, what have we got? It's another Maguire. Or, you know, how do you see that going? Do you think they need a little bit of time just to get used to it? Or would you be throwing them in and seeing how they do?
Yeah, they're definitely brought much needed depth to the squad as well. And I'm just thinking our left back situation is a bit of a mess still because Luke Shaw, Malacia, you know, a sideline with injuries that fought with them last season. You know, and Ten Hag's had to resort to using, you know, Harry Amas playing, you know, with the first team during pre-season, which he has done really well. I'm just on Luke Shaw. He's a great left back when he's not injured, but there's been so many times in his he's been there nearly a decade at Old Trafford when it didn't look like he even had a future, or that was due to injury, or the manager at the time didn't fancy him. So it's just like, and so you won't wish the injuries he's had up on anyone. But I think with Luke Shaw, if he's going to stay at the club, he must remain fit, because if he doesn't, then we're going to have to move him on. So with Mazraoui coming in, I just think now they've got a similar defender in Dalot as well, so he can play right back or left back, you know. So with Ligt also coming in, brings the centre back to, you know, to a core of four with him, you know, with him, Evans, Martinez, and Maguire as well. So it's just, I think with both them two new sides, it alleviate the pressure on the young, promising talents like Amas and Yo to start numerous games, you know, in the season as well. So I think in the head of the season, I think Ligt and Maguire will be the rotating right centre back, and Martinez will consume the left centre back role, unless he's having to play left centre back as well. But I think Dalot will probably at the moment start at right back, and Mazraoui will cover left back at the moment as well, just to, you know, covering Shaw and Malacia once they get match fit as well. So it's hopefully we don't have many more injuries recurring, as I said earlier, throughout the season. But seeing what with Ligt and Mazraoui coming in, then if they've worked under Ten Hag, so they know what they are getting with him, and he knows what he wants to get out of them. So it's just like it's almost like fitting Ten Hag's mould as well. So yeah, let's say, and just on Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think I said on Sunday's show, I just think maybe it was just the right time for all parties to move on now. So it's just like there's some, you know, some good times under with Wan-Bissaka, but you know, was he going to go any further with United? I just don't think. I just think Dalot just got ahead of him and just was going to find it difficult to get back in the side on a regular basis.
It is an interesting one. I genuinely am concerned that we do not have a recognised left back in that respect. I mean, Tyrell Malacia, they're taking photos of him in a kit. Like, he hasn't put a kit on for ages. Like, we've not seen him play. Where's he been? We don't know what's going on with him. So
I was going to say that one comment. Was it MT said about Graham Souness saying Ligt is lightweight? I'm just thinking, was it a couple of seasons ago? I'm sure it might be in Carra saying about Martinez saying, or somebody said it being too small and wouldn't do well in the Premier League. Well, that's proven wrong. So I'm hoping Ligt will prove everyone wrong as well. So start by doing that if he's in the starting lineup on Friday. Just prove all the doubts wrong.
That's what I'm saying. If we don't start them and lose, we'll say, why didn't they start? So you can't please everyone. Ten Hag should just do what is good for the team. I quite like that. And of course, Dave's saying Harry Amas looks like he's going to get the first team action. Well, we all thought that before the Charity Shield, and then he wasn't anywhere to be seen. It was like Clark Kent. Everybody's expecting him to be around to cover the Superman story, and I was like, where is he? Where's he gone? So that was quite interesting. But away from that, what I want to ask you guys next is about the rest of the squad. We've sort of spoken about the new signings, but who do you think this season could have a really, really good season? I'm going to preface this immediately by saying none of you can choose Ahmad, because I think all of us believe that Ahmad could be instrumental this season. It could be an absolute banger for him. So taking Ahmad aside, who do you think could be 2 or 3 players who you think will have a really good season for Manchester United this year? Or even if you don't think they do or will, who needs to have a good season in order for us to be successful? That's probably a better question. Let's try that. So who needs to be at the top of their game in order for us to be successful? We'll go with, let's start with Matt again on this one. Go on, Matt. What do you reckon?
The first one I probably will say is probably Rashford. He's got to be the number one for me in terms of needs to have a better season. Not just for obviously himself, obviously for the club as a whole. Obviously the fans hopefully will actually get behind him this year, because I think last year, sort of like we were talking about at the end of last season, the treatment that he was getting wasn't acceptable. And admittedly, it was far from acceptable, like we discussed towards the end of the last campaign. So I think Rashford definitely needs to have a better season for himself more than anything. Obviously to help his confidence. I think also the Community Shield, he missed another couple of chances, which is sort of like a similar story to last season. I'm just hoping obviously he can find, I think he just needs that one goal. I just think he needs just some sort of spark just to get him going again. I think that's just all he's lacking at the moment. I think the two other players I probably go for probably would be, I think Garnacho is going to have a great season. Personally, I've seen him, he come on against City in the Community Shield, and he literally made the difference like that. Just unbelievable. I think he's going to have a great season this season, build on last season. And the third one for me is Højlund. I'm hoping, obviously now we've got Dalot and Mazraoui, and obviously some better options at fullback going forward as well. I'm hoping he'll get some more service into the box this season as well, because last season he was feeding off scraps for best part of the season. And obviously people were criticising him, saying he's not scoring enough, but at the end of the day he wasn't getting the service, and he can't do it all on his own at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, very true, very true. Tulumba still mentioned Ahmad, even though I said nobody's allowed to, but he's also mentioned Harry Mas and Kobe Mainoo, which I think is two very good shouts. John Commode saying he thinks Rashford will honestly get 20 plus goals this season. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Dave just going with one. Casemiro, he thinks he needs to have a good game, good season. Sorry, NT saying Rashford needs to have a good one. Also wants to see Mainoo, Garner, and Højlund go up another gear as well. And then he corrects his spelling, saying the only thing that the autocorrect got right today was calling Souness Sourness. Do you know what I really hate about autocorrect? You know, you're tweeting or you're sending a message and you write something right. You know you've done it right, and you click the space and it changes it. So you go back and you change it, and then you push the space bar again, and it changes it back to what it was before you deleted it. And you're like, no, how can you? Somebody's got to invent something, surely, so that when you hit that point of typing it out, if you've changed it back, it goes, yeah, all right, fair play. Just wanted to make, like, who are you to tell me how to spell the word? Oh, hate technology sometimes. Beanie, for you, who would you say are the three players that must play well this season in order for Manchester United to be successful?
I mean, I agree with Matt straight away with Rashford. I think we just missed his goals last season so much. When you look at what he was doing the season before that, he was hitting sort of 30 or whatever it was. I think even like a 50% on form Rashford would help us so much at the minute. I think we'll obviously get big seasons from Garner and Ahmad. It'd be nice to see Højlund kick on. I'd like to see Onana, to be honest, have a better season. I thought he was very weak in certain matches last season. Champions League, obviously, he was quite poor. Gets beat too easily. His distribution, I don't think, is that great. So I'd like to see him kind of make that goalkeeper's slot his own. But just a sort of left field one, I think Mason Mount's looked really good in pre-season. So I'd like to see if he can stay fit. I'd like to see because I don't really know where he fits into the team yet, Mason Mount. So I'd like to see if he can kind of make a spot his own, or if he can kind of show us what he's good at, because he's a good player, isn't he? So I'd like to see if he can kick on with an injury-free season. But yeah, that'd probably be my Onana and Mount would probably be my ones that I'd be wanting to keep an eye on and hoping they have good seasons.
Fair enough. Mr. Wall, what about you? Who would you be looking to see perform at that absolute peak in order for United to be up there in the top four?
I think, well, one of the first key players is probably Martinez. You know, the difference he makes to the way United play is remarkable, and just hoping he can stay fit all season. So you just saw in the Community Shield some of the tackles he's put in. I thought, yeah, he's back and he's ready for it as well. So if you can keep consistency throughout the season, then it could be a key player. I think one of the other key players, and the one that signed the extension day, is Bruno. He always he's always had a good season, but I just feel like he's just going to carry it on even more now. So you just saw like last season, the 2 games he didn't featured in, how much we struggled. I know sometimes people are not happy, when he's arguing and whinging, but that's not everyone's cup of tea. But he's our most creative player, and he's just a force of nature. So he wants to drive the club even more forward, which I'm all here for as well. So obviously, I think I said on Sunday, I think about Garnacho as well. I feel like he's really ready to step up this season now. Like Bruno carried the club on his back and, contribute with goals and assists as well. I think another player I'm just intrigued to look out for is Ethan Wheatley as well. Made a handful of appearances last season. So I know we've got Hoyland and Xerxes, but I'm just interested to see how he will get on throughout the season as well. So he could be one to watch out for.
Absolutely brilliant. NT telling us all that he uses an open source keyboard. You lost me, keyboard to keyboard, surely. So, but I do agree that whatever it is, if it's learning your typos, well, this is the whole problem. It shouldn't be. Oh, I just hate it. I'd rather spell the word wrong and then just go back and edit it. Surely that's why the X function has that ability for us to be able to go and do that. But whatever. Right. Let's start looking, shall we, a little bit wider about how we feel the season itself is going to do. So, as you know, last year, we may not know, you might be new here, so let me explain to you. Last year, myself and Dan, who just couldn't be bothered tonight, had a go at predicting what we thought the end of season table would look like. And we did pretty poorly. I think we guessed about 4 teams each. Maybe I got 4 and he got 5, or he beat me anyway, which was a delight for him. These are the things we do, as leaders to try and make sure our people are happy. So I made sure that Dan was all right, made a few changes on mine. But today we're going to have a look at everybody's. We've done it as a wider group. It's no longer just a Baz and Dan show. As you know, we've got Andrew. He comes and helps us out. He's going to be doing a lot on Instagram over the course of this year. We've got Beanie, who's helping us out on TikTok a lot, and Matt, who's helping us out a lot on Twitter. So we have got a wonderful array of people. So I asked them all, I said, why don't you come up with your own league as well? So we're going to talk through this as to how it is we've got there. And this is the first league I'm going to pop up, just like that. Now, everybody just moves themselves over. That'll work beautifully. Now, Matthew, you should recognise this because this is yours, my friend.
It is.
Bean's just gone the complete other way. He's like, no, I don't want this. What's my nose? Leave me alone. You've gone for City at the top. You've gone for Arsenal. You've put United third. So let's go in first. Why United third?
I just feel like it's going to be a good season. Like I said when I messaged you last night, I could be completely wrong. And I'm hoping I'm not wrong. I've just got that. I think just with everything going on at the club now, I just feel like I'm going into a season a lot more optimistic than I was any other season. If I was in this position this time last season, I definitely wouldn't have us as high as third in a predicted table. Again, maybe it's just me, just the optimistic side of me. But I just feel like we are going to have a really good season. But I do think, bare minimum, I do think we will finish in the top 4. I just hope to think we'll be third rather than 4th and kick on. Well, anything's better than last season, but if we finish third, I'd be absolutely delighted with that this season.
It's interesting you say anything is better. There's literally 12 other places we can finish.
Well,
But I get your feeling. I know what you're saying. Okay, let's see where Beanie put us. He also has gone for Manchester United to finish third. Beanie, explain yourself. Why have you gone United 3?
I just think if the injuries are kind to us, if we keep people like Martinez fit, keep our big players fit, I think we've got more than enough in that squad to push on for top 4. I mean, you look at sides like Spurs, Newcastle, Chelsea, a bit of a mess. Our full strength 11, I think, is much better than them. So I think we just need a few things to go in our favour, but I do think we've got more than enough to get into that top 4.
Very interesting. And then, of course, Andrew Wall. He sent us his across, and this is how Andrew's looked. And he has put Manchester United in third place. Explain yourself. Have you 3 been colluding behind my back? Why have you put Man United in third?
I wanted to put them at the top, but I was being realistic at how our season's going to go. And I just think, even if we had not had the injuries last season, I think we could have been high as the 4th or 3rd. So I think if we can keep the injuries to a minimum, I just think we could be up there. I just think with City, they have the know-how of winning the Premier League at the moment, and Arsenal pushed them all the way last season. So then they know how to be in a title challenge. So I'm just thinking the way Liverpool have been over the summer, what's going on at the club with transfers and everything. I don't know, it all seems quite well there, but who knows when the season starts? We could all be wrong by the end of it and going, who's at the top and who's at the bottom as well. But for United, I just think, I feel like it's going to be a better season under Ten Hag. Hopefully, it's a bit more like the first season where it was firing on all cylinders.
Okay, now we will get Dan to explain his, obviously when he's on a show. So we will put his up again. But I just want to show you, right? So as we've spoken already, Matt put his through. Very nice of Matt. He sent his through on a nice, clearly an iPad or an iPhone, having used a notes feature or something like that. Beautiful. Beanie used what he was doing at TikTok, loved it, made himself a nice little background and everything. Probably the best looking one out of the lot. Andrew just sent his in WhatsApp, but it's okay because I was able to cut that and everything was fine. So how do you think Dan sent it to me? Like, what on earth is this? How are you even supposed to read that? It's outrageous. So, being the gentleman that I am, I've made his into a much nicer one, which is actually readable. And he has put Manchester United in fifth. So I'm immediately going to say to the three of you, who wants to pick up on that one, talking about Dan, Beanie, you are going to have to move your head, mate. People are going to get worried about what you're doing. Or I might just move it out of the way. I might just go like that. And I'll be like, oh, no, what's going on? Other way, mate, other way. But yeah, Matt, what do you reckon? Is he taking the mickey a bit?
I feel like he's not. I feel like he's actually being deadly serious, not knowing Dan himself. I don't know. Maybe it's just us three being very optimistic, but I do, like I say, I do feel like we will definitely finish in the top four this year. I've just got a more confident feeling about it than going into last season, like I say. I think fifth is a little bit low, but again, like I said, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But for me, I do see us finishing in the top four personally.
Outrageous. You're saying his might have been rushed. That's outrageous. But yeah, so there you go. So he has put Manchester United into fifth. Now I am going to show you mine. Just not yet. So I feel like there's other conversations to be had first. And that conversation goes around who's going to win it. So let's pop back to Matt very nicely over here. And Matt, you chose Manchester City to win the Premier League. So what's behind you thinking there? Why do you think they're going to go for the 5-peat? Surely we can't see that again.
Like I say, I'm more hoping that is wrong. But I just feel like going into the season, obviously, you've probably got to have City down as the favourites naturally because they've performed season after season and they've looked like the team that have just gone out and looked comfortable and they've been the most consistent throughout the whole league campaign. As much as it pains me to say it. So yeah, I just naturally had to put City at the top. Again, I do hope I'm wrong. I don't want them to win another title. And who knows, they might be top of the league and it might not materialise when these things come out. But yeah, I hope I'm wrong, but I've just naturally got City in there because they do generally perform the most consistent throughout a league campaign.
I mean, it's a fair enough point. If we look at Beanie, he hasn't done that though. He's gone for Arsenal. Beanie, talk to us through your thinking because, I mean, you look at City, they've only brought one person in. They brought in Savio from Troyes, and that's it. When you start looking at some of the people they've lost, Julian Alvarez has gone out for a ridiculous amount of money, by the way, £82 million, which is quite something. When you go to Arsenal, I can't say they've done a huge amount of business themselves. They brought David Raya in. They brought Lucas Nygaard in. And I suppose the only other big one there being Ricardo Calafiori. But obviously they've got rid of Emile Smith-Rowe. What do you think, particularly this season, is going to be the difference between Arsenal getting across the line there and City not?
I just think if you kind of look over the last few seasons, kind of City's points have been coming down a little bit. Arsenal's have been going up a little bit. So our City, I mean, it seems crazy to say City are in decline, but their best players are aging now. You probably won't get a full season out of De Bruyne. Kyle Walker is the same, and I just think it must be difficult for them players to have that push to do it season after season. and the amount of times that City have nicked it late. City have they did Liverpool on the last day. I think they did Arsenal the last couple of games of last season. And I just feel like Arsenal are a younger, hungrier team. And I think they're going in the right direction. I don't think they'll walk away with it, but I think they might just nick it at the end.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And Andrew, he's still gone with the same top two, but he switched it around as well. He's gone City to finish above Arsenal. Now, you've gone for that one. Why, Andrew? What's the big thing there? Why have you gone City to win it 5 times? That's not really a very Manchester United fan sort of thing to say, is it?
I know. I wanted to put United first, as I said, but I had to be a bit realistic. Were they going to challenge City? Probably not. But I think with City, it's like a case of like winning the Premier League. It's a bit like muscle memory. Theirs is like something else. They always put winning runs together in like the springtime, like they've always done over the last number of years. So it's a bit like Bayern, PSG, and so they've all done it in recent times in their own league. So it's almost like winning becomes like a habit, like United were doing when they were winning Premier League. So you wouldn't put a bet against City winning the Premier League title, but it might be the case that this might be the final year that they win it. So I think in like last season they weren't as convincing as they were. And that the team they've got now is starting to age as well. The likes of De Bruyne, Edison, Kyle Walker, Bernardo Silva, and John Stones. They're not young players anymore. And it's been said about Arsenal potentially winning the Premier League title. They've got far more players coming into their peak age and performance. So there's only a 2-point gap there last season. So it only all it'll take for City to have a dip, and Arsenal will be just hot on their heels trying to overtake them. But I just think City might just have maybe a little bit more enough to get by this season, but maybe it might be the final, one they win. So as I say, nothing lasts forever.
It's interesting. It's very interesting. Now, Dan, when he did his, said from 8th to 3rd is outrageous, which I think is a little bit mad when you consider that Leicester went from being bottom 3 almost, just nicking out of relegation and then winning it the following season. So he obviously has gone for Arsenal to win the league and Man City to finish 2nd. Now, you'll notice there's an asterisk next to Manchester City, and that's not because Dan did it. That's because when I did mine, I put an asterisk there because this is what I've gone for. I've gone for City to win the league, but that little asterisk is because I am fully in agreement with Mr. John Commode. I think this season could be the season they get done. And getting done doesn't necessarily mean they have to be relegated. It doesn't mean anything like that. But it does mean that some of these charges are bound to stick. And if they do, it's going to be enough that they don't win the league this season. I think that's reasonable. If there's any points taken off, it'll be enough that they don't win the league. So therefore, they could drop anywhere into the league, hence why I've done that. And I genuinely think United could be there just to pick up the pieces. Now, like I said, you look at Arsenal, they did all right, to be fair, but even watching them in pre-season, I'm still not convinced they really were that much better than we were in the grand scheme of things. You look at Spurs, I've put them in at 4th. Liverpool didn't bring anybody in. They've not brought anybody in yet. They haven't brought a single signing. All they've done is change their manager. And have we seen enough yet from Slot? I'm not convinced we have. So I've gone for City to win it for the same reason that you lot have, because they're just almost inevitable this season and last season. And for the last 5 seasons, to be fair, really, they've had that air about them. But like I say, it's one of those situations where, again, why can't you be positive at the start of the season? Imagine going into a season thinking you're going to finish 5th. Not having love. What is that?
It's the fact that Dan put Spurs above us. I'm like, Spurs? Sorry. Spurs will be Spursy. They'll do something throughout the season. You think they're looking good and then they'll do something well. They're not doing that so well.
It's an interesting one. Let's just have a little look at what some of the commenters have said, because obviously I've missed a fair few of those whilst we have been looking at those on the screen. So NT's put, I really hope Liverpool struggle. Yes. And I can see them struggling for top 4. See, just like me. This is probably Arsenal's best chance to win the league. So you're going along with Dan and Beanie there. As I say, John Commode thinks it could be the season that all comes to an end. Toowoomba laughed, and I think he laughed at you, Dan, if I'm honest with you. John also said people who say Liverpool finished third baffle me. They finished third last year. This is my point. They have a new manager, not signed anyone. I'm not sure how people would think they will finish that high. Absolutely, John. John, we're on the same wavelength here. What has happened? Dave thought that Ipswich are going to surprise us this season, which we will see in a bit. What we've done in terms of the lower ends. City could be relegated by January with 115. They could be. But then Dan says, City from here, a couple of injuries away from a struggle. He doesn't believe me with second. You think we win the league if the charges happen? Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. Going to win it by default. It's going to be great. Didn't Liverpool win every game? No, they finished third. That's what I mean. It's like they didn't do quite as well as two other teams. So they've not made any decent changes. They've let people go. They haven't brought people in. So there we go. Let's go back to it then and have a quick look at where we were. So Matt, we're back to you again. So your top four, you've gone City, Arsenal, United, Liverpool, and ultimately they're the things that we're going to be judged on. You've gone Spurs, West Ham, probably Villa, getting some European spots there as well. But let's look at your bottom threes because you've gone as well Ipswich, Southampton, Forest. So just give us a brief overview of the rest of what you were thinking, and if there's anything else you want to highlight, any other reasons why you've put certain teams in certain places.
Yeah, I do agree. Obviously, I put Liverpool fourth, purely. Like I said, they've not really brought anyone in. Like we've pointed out, obviously the manager's different, but we've not really seen anything encouraging to make you think that they're going to do exceptional this season. That may change. Obviously, there's still transfer window still open. I think Liverpool may just squeeze it possibly, but again, wouldn't shock me if they miss out on top four at this current moment in time. Spurs I put outside top four because that's generically what Spurs tend to do every season. They sort of weren't the top of the league at one point or something, and then all of a sudden they're down to about fifth or sixth, and no one was surprised. So I put them outside the top four for that reason. I think West Ham will have a good season. I think they've brought some good players in. Also, they've signed obviously Wan-Bissaka from United, and yeah, I think generically West Ham have probably strengthened probably the most equally alongside ourselves out of the whole league at the moment in the transfer window. So I think West Ham will probably finish top six. I've put them down for. Villa again, I think will have another decent season under Unai Emery. Newcastle, Chelsea I've put down there as well because again there's nothing there they've done that really impresses me. Also they brought Leicester's former manager in. Again, no one really knows what to expect from them this season. Palace mid-table, again, they're sort of like they're generically around the mid-table sort of part of the league generically. And then obviously further down, I have put Leicester to stay up. I just feel like Leicester, the one of them teams we've seen the league this season, they won the league. Obviously, on the day they can perform. I do feel like now they've got themselves back into the Premier League, I just fancy them to actually do something and keep themselves in. And as for the bottom three, Ipswich, I feel like usually the teams that come up, there's normally a couple that do struggle and look well out the depth in the league first season back up. And I do think Ipswich and Southampton could be those teams. And Forest did struggle a bit last season and we were teetering towards the edge of relegation. So I've put them down to be relegated as well on that theory. So yeah, we'll see how close I am from the end of the season, but probably not very close.
We certainly will. Beanie, let's take a little look at what you did. So your top four again: Arsenal, City, United, Liverpool. Spurs, Newcastle, Villa probably getting it. You've gone for Chelsea to miss out on Europe as well. They did have a really good end to their season, I've got to say. Very interesting that we've gone that low with them. Your bottom three, you're seeing Leicester, Brentford going this time, and Southampton. So again, just give us a little talk through what you're thinking, what was going through your head when you made this. Beanie, what's going on here?
There we go.
There we go.
I think Arsenal and City are pretty much out there on their own. But I do think from third to eighth, I actually think it's quite close. I don't think there's a huge amount to choose between them teams. I think Villa, I think Champions League will have a big knock on with them, with the league. I think their squad may struggle a little bit. And then you flip that around, I think Newcastle without Europe, I think they'll have quite a good season. So we'll probably get back into Europe again because of that. I think Chelsea are a little bit of a mess. I mean, they're signing players like daily, aren't they? They must have about 50 players in their squad. It's crazy. If they'd have kept Poch, I'd have probably had them a little bit higher because, as you say, he was getting a real tune out of them, wasn't he, last season? But for them to sack him, new manager, so I think it's a bit like that. West Ham, as Matt said, I think have had a good summer. Can they break into those sort of elite clubs? I'm not sure. Palace, good last season, but I think they'll probably lose a few more big players. So I think they may be sort of mid-table. Brentford, I just think they're going the wrong way, Brentford. And I think one of the Prem teams from last season will go, and I think it probably will be them. I think Bournemouth will struggle without Solanke. I like what McKenna does at Ipswich. I like the sort of style of play he has at Ipswich. So I think they may just have enough. I think Leicester losing Dewsbury Hall, bringing in Cooper. I think Cooper's a bit more negative than what Maresca would have been with Leicester. And I think that may be quite a big factor. But yeah, I think Everton, I think 12's a good season for Everton. I think without the points deduction last season, they'd have finished 11th or something like that. So I think they're better than what people think. But yeah.
Very good. Not a bad little league at all. Andrew, so for you put City, Arsenal, United, Liverpool. So that's your top four. Villa, Spurs, you did put Chelsea in, likely to get a European spot. And Nottingham, not even Nottingham Forest. There's going to be people everywhere going, what is this all about? Those Forest fans are not going to be happy with you. So let's hope they don't watch the show. If you do watch the show, you can just send all of your complaints to Conte. So Nottingham Forest in 18th, Leicester, and you put them, Leicester City. You didn't just give them Leicester, did you? And then Southampton. So what do you think? Why have you gone for this particular table?
Obviously, as I said earlier, City and Arsenal, I think they're going to be the front runners. Liverpool will be interesting to see if they do get top four, if they do sign anybody in the rest of the window as well. So it's like he said, Chelsea are just a mess at the minute. Well, the only reason they probably have a good season is because of Cole Palmer and what he's done. And I just don't get how they're forking out all this money for these players, and just, it's like something's amiss here somewhere. And like Cole Palmer, he signed an extension 2 years now, so it's another 9 years at the club. I'm just like, what player wants to sign for 9 years? I'm just like, it just seems just a bit ridiculous at the moment what's going on at Chelsea. So I thought, the way the Glazers run the United in the past have been, not that good. I'm thinking Chelsea, you just fear for them as well. And also, I think West Ham might definitely have a good season. They've been making moves in the transfer market, and now they have Lopetegui as their manager as well. Bournemouth, I think they finished around the same spot as last season. So I'll just be interested to see how they do. With Solanke being moved on to Tottenham, they did say there are 2 or 3 options they were going to go for if Solanke left. So it's what those options they get in, whether they, finish in that position or lower. Palace, the Sede was on a good run at the end of the season when Glasner came in as well. So just like, can they carry that form on as well? In terms of the bottom 3, I just think Ipswich are going to, make it. They're not going to get relegated. I just think, young squad, with the young manager as well. I just think they've got great support. So I just think they'll just survive as well. For Nottingham Forest, I just think, I don't know whether the PSR will, bite them back, again, and they get deducted points as well. So it could be the case that, those wins at the end of the season, they got them away from that, the bottom 3. But it just feel like, it might be inevitable this time that they go down as well. And so for us, Southampton, they've got a decent bit of Premier League experience on their roster. I think Adam Lallana's moved back there as well. So it's just whether they can, pick up, a decent number of wins. And also needing to replace Shea Adams 16 goals as well, because he's now moved on as well. So it's getting someone in that forward line as well. So, and for, say, Leicester, it's just the same. They've got that experience as well. So it's just, and obviously, effective, because Maresca moved on to Chelsea, what Steve Cooper can do with them as well. So, yeah, just say 2 of the promoted teams, feel like they're going to go back down, but I just feel like Ipswich are just I would say I'm interested to see how Kieran McKenna does with them. I'm looking forward to seeing him back at Old Trafford as well. So and us making the trip to Portman Road as well. So it's been a while since we played him. So I always think back to that 9-0 win in 1995. Yeah, hopefully we don't. Well, it'd be good if we got one of those scores in a game like that, but it'd be unfair to inflict that on McKenna as well. But we'll see how it goes in those 2 matches, home and away.
I mean, listen, I like Kieran McKenna, but I'd be happy with 10-0, to be fair. You would. So let's see what Dan did. Dan went Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and Spurs for his top 4. He put United at 5th. It's unforgivable. You can definitely have that seat, Andrew. Villa and Newcastle being the other 2. He's got West Ham there. His bottom 3, Leicester, Nottingham Forest, and Southampton. So that's what he went for. But me, what did I do? Well, as you already worked out, City, United, Arsenal and Spurs, my top 4. Liverpool getting in by default, probably due to the charges. I only put Chelsea up in 8th, but I was very similar with the others. I put West Ham up. I think they've had a really good transfer window. Wan-Bissaka will obviously help with that defensively. And Aston Villa as well. I think they will struggle a bit. They'll still get Europe, I think. But the fact they're in Europe will be a bit of a hardship for them. So I don't see them being in the top 4, but I do see them being up there and around and challenging. Newcastle, I don't see doing quite as well either just yet. I think they're going to need a little bit of an injection of some sort to be able to compete. When you start looking at the bottom 3, I did put Ipswich just in the relegation zone, but I was really umming and ahhing between Wolves and Ipswich. I think either one of those could be the ones to go down. I'm not sure which, but yes, Forest and Southampton, I don't really hold out much hope for them in terms of them staying up. Equally, I put Spurs, as I said, up in 4th. I think the signing of Solanke is inspired, and I really do think that Big Ange has got quite a few things going right for him there. So it'll be really interesting to see how our league stack up at the end of the season. Let's have a quick look at what you guys have been talking about. So, as NT says, Villa has done good business this summer. I think wouldn't be surprised to see him finish above Spurs, West Ham, and hopefully Liverpool. Hopefully, absolutely. But you did, of course, then mention the European competition they're going to play in. Leicester will go down. I think Southampton will too, says John. Everton will most likely get points deduction. That's nice. We're already knocking points off them. Depends how many points they get deducted. Maybe worth keeping an eye on them and agree with Brentford. 12th last season. Bournemouth, that is. What are you trying to tell me? They were, yes. They won't be this year with no Solanke. They'll be lucky if they're 20th, to be honest. But I did give them the benefit of the doubt. That little bit of experience in the Premier League can be vital. So there we go. So that's that part of the Premier League done. But there is something else that I want to talk to you about. I say want to. I'm doing this next section under duress. So, as you can see here, it says Fantasy Premier League AFU code, and that's the one. So, there are lots of things you could do to go and do this. You can go onto the website, Fantasy Premier League, and when you search that in your Google, Bing, or other search bar, it comes up. It's nice and easy to do. Sign yourself up if you haven't already, and it's a really simple process. Even picking the team is incredibly simple. The best way to do it, certainly the way that I found that was the best to do it, was to use your iPad. There's an app you can download as well, and that's a nice, easy way to control it all. And then you can do what I do, which is basically to shut Dan up, which is you go in there, self a team, and then you don't really care about it too much after that. I never do. Like, I start with the best of intentions. I always go, do you know what? I'm going to pick the team. I'm going to see how I get on, and I'll try and remember to change it. But certainly at the beginning of this year, I forgot my password. Didn't have a clue what was going on. And so every time I went to try and get into it, even though I told my phone to remember it, I wasn't having none of it. So you get in there and you go, oh, this is absolutely terrible. I hate it. And in the end, you just go, do I really care? And the answer was no. And I still didn't finish bottom, which was wonderful. So the fact that my knowledge at the start of the season took me all the way through to the end of the season was absolutely mint. So what's this? Manchester United becoming more than United at the moment. Okay. Well, either way, go and get yourself signed up. When you do and you pick your team, you get, I think it's £100 million to spend. You pick 15 players, I think it is. And basically that's a substitute for each position. So you get 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders you can have, some midfielders as well, and forwards. But it's wonderful. United in Dutch. Thank you, Dave. So I think what we really need to do is to have a look at what we as a group have done. Now, Dan has put it out there. This is why sometimes you've got to be careful who you give the keys to Twitter to, because he sneaked in without Matt and I having a clue what was going on, and just put out a rogue tweet saying that we're all taking part and that the loser will do a forfeit on screen. And we will. I think what we've decided, he's mean. He's mean. I mean, I'm going to out him now. He actually put on there that the loser should wear a Liverpool shirt on a show. And I straight up told him where to go on that one. Can you imagine? It's one thing when you're working with Jamie Carragher and your name is Gary Neville to be sitting there on national TV having a bet to do it. But literally none of us support Liverpool. Why would you inflict that on another Manchester United fan? I don't know. So Dan's in my bad books. But we did agree that the winner can choose the forfeit for the loser. So if you are the winner, you can literally decide what it is that you want us to do. And I say us, it'll only be one person who finishes at the bottom. And we will have to do that live on screen. So that to me seems like a decent reason to play. So we've left the code on the bottom for you. All you do is you go to join league and just type in this one. If you don't want to do that, if that's too much like hard work, go to our Twitter. There's a link you can push, and that will take you straight to it to join the league. So there we go. I completely agree, NT. I wouldn't need a bottle of Dettol. I would be straight in with a bleach. Simple as that. So let's have a butcher's at what people have done. We'll kick off with Matt because he was the first one to send it to me. It's not the best view I think I've ever seen in my life. So you're going to have to talk us through your team because I can't see it. Off you go.
So I have swapped and changed it a few times, obviously, before I sent. So I've gone for Pickford in goal, which originally was Onana, but you can only have 3 players, I believe, from one club in your team, which is annoying. Because it was me, I'd do more United players. But yeah, I've gone for Pickford in goal as my starting goalkeeper. I did bring only today Ligt into the defence, which meant I had to sacrifice Onana, which I think hopefully might prove to be a good decision. Out of the players in the squad. So yeah, I've gone for Ligt. Van Dijk, he's normally, fingers crossed, he's probably one of the more reliable players for Liverpool in the central defence. Martinez, again, hopefully has a good season, which is why I've gone with him and Ligt together in the starting defence anyway. And Guardiola, again, solid play for City. It's a tricky one with defence because you've got so much choice. You could literally go for anyone in the league pretty much. So that is my set back four that I'm quite confident with. Midfield, I've gone with Palmer, which again, he had a good season last season, Chelsea's player of the season. I'm hoping he'll kick on and produce again this season and get me plenty of points. Bruno, just had to be Bruno, just had to be in the team. Obviously, hopefully he'll get plenty of assists and goals this season, again, which will get me plenty of points. Somerville was one that I thought I'd put in, which is an interesting one. West Ham signing from Leeds, I believe it was. I think he could be a pretty good player for West Ham, give them something different in the team. So I've gone with Somerville, which may be a risk. Foden, again, similar to Bruno, goals and assists for City. It was probably one of their best players last season, again. And obviously Watkins, brilliant last season for Villa, standout player. And Alexander Isak as well, similar for Newcastle. I can see him being one of their main talisman this season as well. And then the bench, it's a tricky one, the bench, because you're sacrificing people. I've gone with Dean Henderson as my sub-keeper. Calafiori was originally my starting 11, but he dropped down once I put Ligt into the team. Alanga, again, I think he could be quite an important player for Forest this season. Did show good signs last season. And obviously, João Pedro, again, I think he'll be one of the standout players for Brighton in terms of the attacking options. But likely my team will change.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I quite like the side. I can see what you tried to do there. It was an outrageous last-minute decision to put Ligt in. But there we go. So let's just have a quick look at what everybody said about that. So David said shave their hair off. I'm up for that. That's quite an easy one. I've not got much left of that, so that wouldn't be a problem. This, I hate that Van Dijk changed his shirt name to just Virgil. Who does he think he is? Cher. Reminds me of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase's little bodyguard that he used to have in the WWF, because that was his name, Virgil. And fun fact, if you're into wrestling, Dusty Rhodes' first name actually was Virgil in real life. So there you go. Little Virgil facts for you there. Who knew that you could have that? I feel like Condog should be involved, the legendary Quiff. It won't happen. Won't happen at all. As NT rightly says. Okay, who's up next? We've got the code going along the bottom, so maybe do it now. Take some inspiration. Go out there, get your Fantasy Premier League done. If you've already got one, just get on and get yourself logged in. Join the league. It costs you nothing. It's nice and easy. So this is Andy Walls. Andy, this is what you went for. I've made it bigger on the screen now so I can see what's going on. Quite an interesting one. You used quite an interesting technique here. You've gone 3-5-2 with your one. A sensible idea. Am I sure that's yours?
Yeah.
I'm as sure as I can be.
It's not the one
That's mine, that is, I think.
You're kidding
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, so
That's mine, I'm pretty sure.
So, yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
double
not
check
mine.
it.
You need to check
I was going to say that looks a lot like mine.
You're right. 'Cause yours are in white. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I've just written the name down wrong. So we'll try this again. Beanie. I knew it. Listen, I knew it was an Andrew. That's all that matters, really. I think what's happened here is I've written down Andy Team instead of Beanie. And so that's where I've gone wrong on that one. So sorry about that. But it was nice because for a brief moment there, just like, what's this?
I mean, I could try and explain.
Oh, God. So, yeah. Beanie, let's try that one again. You've gone for a 3-5-2. Talk us through your thinking, big man.
Yeah, I've just gone for goal scoring defenders in Saliba, Gvardiol, Trent. Trent's good for an assist. Gvardiol gets down the left, scores goals, assists. Eze, Gordon, Fernandez, Palmer, Garnacho. Just filled a midfield with goal scorers and assisters. And I think Watkins and Isak are just going to bang loads of goals in this season. So yeah, that's it really.
Well done. That's we're not playing against the buzzer on this one, but you've certainly gone in quick for that one. So fair play. Can't really argue with anything you've said there. So there we go. Let's see what else is being said in here. Yep, Dave is with NT that kind of won't take part. NT says Andrew's team looks quite good, and then I'll be his team then. Dan says he's already changed his. This feels like it's against the rules for me. You can't start a game and just start changing it. Like, who do you think you are? You're a disgrace. I'm not happy for it. He did indeed go for a game of throw-ins. And do you know, I saw your name, Dan, and I genuinely went. And if you've got kids, put your hands over their ears. I thought, that's shit. What is that? And it's only just hit me that it's a play on words of Game of Thrones, isn't it? So there you go. So well done. It's much better than I thought it was. So well done. My one, I will tell you mine in a moment. But Matt, you just did your team. What was your team name?
I think it was just my surname. I think it was like Morgan FC or something like that. I just kept it nice and simple. I think it used to be Red Devils previously, but I just thought I'd change it up a bit this year. Okay,
that was an interesting one. Beanie, what did you put?
It took me ages to think of my one. Mine was just beanies.
Okay, so NT said I would love that one. I did love it now that I've thought about it and understood that it was a play, especially seeing how he does the Foul Throw podcast. Very good indeed. So fun fact, when I did the names for the teams, I put Matt and I put Andy, and this is why I really should have realised it, because the next one is Wally, and that can only be you. So here we go, Wally, my little robot friend. Yours is much easier to read, so well done. But what you've also done is you've not included your subs, so I don't know whose subs or who's what. How did you come about your picking of your team?
I don't know why it wasn't showing all the shirts, so I don't know why that was. Went for like Emi Martinez, the Villa goalkeeper. He's one of the good goalkeepers in the Premier League, and McCarthy at Southampton. I just thought, well, he did well last season in the Championship, so hopefully he might be keeping the goals out of the Southampton net. So, say defensive. Was really impressed by Kokes and Livramento last season for their respective clubs, Bournemouth and Newcastle as well, and so Dunk as well for Brighton as well. It's like in the midfield, I had to go with Bruno. I thought I can't not, and I've made him my captain for my team as well. So Kundus at West Ham, he had a brilliant season there last season as well. And I remember Sinister at Bournemouth, he had a good game against us in that 2-2 draw, so it caused us a few problems as well. So attacking wise, I thought I had to kind of go with Haaland because he's just a machine when it comes to goals. And say Ollie Watkins, to say what he did last season, got into the England squad, scored that winning goal against Holland as well. But I think he might have another good season, so it might see some more bigger clubs than Villa saying, "Oh, how much do you want for him? Can we, take him off your hands?" And I had to put Xerxes in as well. I'm just thinking, let's see what he can do this season. But in terms of who I put on my bench, it was McCarthy, Byrne, Somerville, and Wharton as well. So I've gone for like a 4-3-3 formation.
Very nice indeed. What's your name?
Xerxes, and I know it.
Who?
Xerxes. The black, and I know it. Space. There's a song called "Sexy," and I know it. I just saw that online.
Yes.
I could have gone with the other option I had was Earth, Wind and Maguire, and I thought I was torn.
Very good, well done. Because Dan has said here it's exceptional for name, and I'm like interested.
I know. I thought about Maguire as well. I was like, they'll go with that one, but I thought
Sexy.
let's give the new signing some love.
I like that. John's joined. He is the Orlando Reds. Obviously, took him a while to think about that one as well. Jennifer, I'm very disappointed about this because I did mention it in the other one that we had another show at 8:30, but I will let you off. It's not a problem. Lovely to have you here. Dave saying I might take the Veronese Reds. Feel free. Absolutely go for it. And we are looking forward to seeing what you do. Here we go. Yes, he is also our current champion, John Commode. Made me laugh, really, because he barely played and he still beat Dan. And frankly, and only beats Dan is, in my eyes, a legend and deserves all good things. So there we go. Right. Who's next to look at? It will be Dan. We'll have a look at what Dan has done. Apparently he's changed it already, so as far as we're concerned, Dan's just not playing the game the way it should be played. But he has gone for David Raya in goal. He's put 3 at the back with Anderson, Powell and White. 5 in the midfield with Garnacho, Salah, Fernandez in the middle, Odegaard and Elanga. Isaac is the captain with Darwin Núñez up front. Then a bench of Henderson, Gusto, which I'm sure is where you go to order food to your door. Then Mateta, is that Van der Vaart? Who is that? I think Van der Vaart, is it, in defence there?
Van der Ven, I think it is, from Spurs.
Van der Ven,
yeah.
Close. There's so many Dutch people in the league at the moment. I haven't got a clue who's who. It could be Van der Howell for all I know. But there you are. So that is who he has gone for. Again, we'll have to get him to explain why he's made the choices he's made at another time. Because, like I say, he can't be bothered to be here in person, but he just won't stay out of the chat. So, very interesting to see what's going on. He has actually responded, though, in the chat. He's told us he's put Mateta out and Solanke in, which is very, very interesting. He's going to send us slides to his team shortly. Look forward to that. No problems at all. So, it's the long-awaited moment. The man who could not care less. What has he done? Well, here we are. This is mine. Very simple, really. Let me explain to you what I did. Now, there are people out there in this world who take this game incredibly seriously. There are streams about this on TikTok. There are videos you can watch. Even when you sign up, there's videos which you can go and see that will help you to scout your team. It tells you. You could spend hours going through, seeing who's going to be the best value. I can tell you I made this in 10 minutes time. That's all it took me to do. And I did a very simple thing, really. And that was to look at 2 particular things. Number one, who scored the most goals and assists? And then number two, who had the most clean sheets? And obviously the clean sheet people are the ones that you see in defence, and the goal scoring and assist peoples are the ones that you see in midfield and up front. So that's what I did. I started with that, and then I just picked whoever I wanted to pick, and then looked to see how bad I was over my shopping spree spend, because you only had the 100 million, and then I just cut my cloth accordingly. It's a bit like when you go to Tesco's and you've ordered too much and you have to put the Cadbury's buttons back because you're just not allowed to have them. So that's what I did. Got me just brilliant. Matt's just frozen on my seat at the moment with his eyes shut. It's quite a good picture. It's like you put me asleep, Maz. It's quite good. Oh, composure. Are you still there, Matt? Are you alive? Oh, he is. There we go. He just moved. Brilliant. So I put Jordan Pickford in goal because I think he has more often than not a good game. Emerson Royale, I don't know why he's gone red. Does anyone know what that means? Does that mean is he injured?
No, he's left. He's gone to Milan.
So I'm going to have to change him.
Yeah.
For the love of God, I've got to do more work before it started. Bloody Emerson Royale. So there we go. So it's already gone wrong for me. So I shall have to find somebody to replace him. And I won't be able to put another United player into I've done my three. So I am going to have to go and do a change. Outrageous. Hate it. Saliba and Martinez. Again, I think they're great defenders. They do the job. And I had to have Man United players. Otherwise, what's the point in playing? Odegaard, I think superb. Rashford, I'm with John. I think he's going to score some goals, which is going to give us some good points. Bruno Fernandes and my captain, because let's be honest, he's the heartbeat of United at the moment. Cole Palmer, because like I said, the kid did really well at the end of last season. Ivan Toney, because he's always good for goals, takes a lot of penalties as well. Isaacs, I think he's been really superb, and Ollie Watkins as well. Then, surprisingly, Ederson is on the bench. I've only put him on the bench because Pickford's playing against Brighton and Hove Albion, so I feel like he's got more of a chance of a clean sheet, whereas Ederson's up against Chelsea, and I quite like Cole Palmer to score a few. So I don't want to be sitting there going, yeah, Palmer's got a hat-trick, because then Ederson loses some points, doesn't he? See? Thinking, because I've paid attention to the first week. That's about it, really. All goes downhill after that. Tarkowski as well, because if Pickford has a good game, Tarkowski is bound to have had a good one as well. Mitchell as well, and then Traore, because let's be honest, as much as I think Wolves might end up in a bit of a relegation fight, he's another one of those who could just step in. And let's be honest, you need some deadwood to cut for if you do actually remember to make some transfers. So there we go. That was my team. I've got to go and change Emerson Royale now, which is really, really annoying. But there we are. So let's just see what has been said before we go. So yes, Dutch United, the best of all teams. I'm actually amazed. Like there's other people buying people from Ajax. It's like they don't have a team left. It's absolutely crazy. Barry taking risks, like Anana said. It's not a risk for me, mate. I just don't care. And I think that's what Dan's going with there. Yeah, we get it. We understand. If United signed Sanderberg, United would have two players with the name Sandberg for women and Sanderberg for men. Yes, absolutely. We would. How has Royale come to Milan? I don't know. I've only just found out that he did it, which is quite annoying. What's your fantasy league pin? It's this thing that's flying along the floor at the middle here with the AFU code. It's just there, WP5S48. So do feel free to come and join us. We would absolutely love to have it. There you go. It's going on the bottom chat. There you go. Do you know, if you've got a problem with a keyboard, if you have a chat with NT, if he's still in the chat, he's got some sort of keyboard going. Have a chat with him. He'll sort you out. No problem whatsoever. So there we go. That's it. We're done. All sorted. We've had ourselves I mean, to be honest, mate, it's the question we're all asking. So I'm glad you've asked it yourself. Well done. I don't know. I felt like I've made it pretty clear, but good job. Well done. I'm pleased. We're all happy you're joining. That's all that matters. We all miss things every now and again. Dan's put us fifth. We all miss the obvious, don't we? It's obviously going to be top four. United are winning. What are we talking about? So there we go. I think we're pretty much done. We've gone a little bit longer today, but that's because I did want to try and big up the Fantasy Premier League. Like I say, by the time September comes around, I'll have forgotten we're even doing it, regardless of what's happening. But there we are. So it's all pretty good. Matt, are you feeling confident? Are you aiming for it? Are you going to try and win?
Hopefully. I'm a bit like you sometimes. I do have the odd week where I do just sort of slip my mind, but I'm hoping now there's a forfeit on the line. I will try and pull my finger out and remember to make the changes.
Beanie, do you play it a lot? You've set up your own league time as well, haven't you?
Yeah. I'll play it probably for the first couple of months, but now I know that you're in it, Baz. I know I ain't going to be bottom, so I'm all right.
Don't got to worry about me, mate. You've not got to worry about me at all. I'm like City. I know I'm getting relegated. It's not a problem. And Andrew, you're like me, ain't you, mate? Same thing.
Yeah. Well, I decided not to do it, and then I was like, well, been dragged in. Try to remember, after the first 2 or 3 weeks to do it, but hopefully it don't come last, but we'll see.
Honestly, mate, you're like totally dragged in. This is like, I'm sure. I mean, Jennifer here is saying she's doing her legal work. I mean, I think I might need to employ you, Jennifer, because I'm pretty sure this is happening against my will, and that sounds illegal. Like, I've not asked to do this. I don't want to do this. I have been forced into doing it. So there we go.
I was going to say, I just remember enough to, when we're doing WFC predictions, I remember to do that every week. That's my limit, and I'm just like, now you're adding more to me. I'm like,
tell me about it. We might even do a WSL one yet. We don't know. Beanie's eyes are giving away. I can see the desire to win. You lie. This one here, NT, I'm signing up, but I'm like Barry, I'll be forgetting about it after week 3. Absolutely. And you have no keyboard advice or any use to anyone. I thought you could maybe share. But there we go. So I think that's a good enough time to get rid of the banner now. If you still needed time to see that, just rewind the video. It's not disappeared forever. It's still there. That's all you need to do. Brilliant. Listen, we had a brilliant time. Like I say, we usually keep it to an hour. We've gone a little bit longer tonight. What's coming? What's happening? Friday night, Manchester United are going to be live at Old Trafford. The Premier League is going to be returning, and we are going to be cheering us on to a 3-0 victory against Fulham. So the last thing, I suppose, is to ask that, Matt, what's the score going to be?
My prediction will be 3-1 United.
I'm glad you said that, because I was a little bit worried for a second there. Beanie, you've already told the people, but if they haven't watched the Fulham preview, which they obviously will go and do immediately after this because it's on the YouTube channel, if they haven't already watched that, what did you suggest the score was going to be?
2-1 for me.
2-1 for you. Dan's popped in with 3-0 Rashford hat-trick. Now this will be interesting. Let's see if we can do this. 3 people have scored a hat-trick for Manchester United against Fulham. Beanie, can you remember who they were?
Rude was one of them. And then the others were a bit before my time, I think.
They were. Even I'm having to flick it over and see whereabouts I wrote it down. I've got them. Alex Dawson it was in 1958 and David Hurd from 1965. So there you go. Fun fact. So there we go. So if he does get a hat-trick, he'll be the first person in 21 years to do that. John Commode saying, I'm going 2-0 United, Rashford and Fernandez. Dave, 3-0 United, De Ligt, Xerxes and Garnacho. Be amazing. When was the last time that 2 debutants scored a goal? That would be quite something. Jennifer going 1-0, nice and positive. Love that. Andrew, what are you expecting to see?
3-0.
3-0, he's gone with me. Who's scoring for you then?
Hopefully Garnacho. I've seen, can he make it, 2-2, after scoring at the weekend in the Community Shield. Xerxes starts, nice to see him score as well. And I'm trying to think who, Bruno as well. So, with his new contract, get a goal on the opening day of the season. It's been nice to round it all off.
Lovely. Well, I've said 3-0. I'm going Rashford, Bruno, and shall we go Mainu or Ahmad? One of them two to get a goal. Super duper. Listen, we won't be talking about it immediately after, but a little plea. I don't know if any of you have got TikTok. I don't. If you do, then why aren't you following this yet? And if you are, thank you very much. If you don't, could you just go and make an account? Just even if you don't want it, because we are so close to 800, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I really want to be able, after the match, to throw it open to a live and see what's going on and try and build that platform as well on TikTok so that we can have the immediate match reactions where possible. Now, of course, if TikTok's not your thing, I get it. That's fine, but it would really help us out. Or share it out. Do something. Shout it out across the rooftops, because we are about 50 people away from being able to do that. And if we can get that by Friday, that would be absolutely superb. So if you could, well done. Dave forgot about Ahmad. He's going 4-0 now. There you go. See? But good stuff. But if you can't catch us on TikTok afterwards because we haven't got the 800, don't worry. We'll be back on Saturday where we'll be having our match reaction show, all looking back at Manchester United against Fulham, which of course is live on Sky Sports at, is it a 7:45 kickoff, Andy? I think it is.
It's 8 o'clock, is it not?
It's 8 o'clock.
Well, if you get there, if you start watching at 2:45, you won't miss it, will you?
No, it would be a bit of a rush from work, so I've got to get there before 8 at least.
You'll make it. It'll be fine. So make sure you are here 8:30 Saturday evening. Don't worry about going to the pictures. If your missus says she wants a date, do it Sunday. It's not a problem. We'll be there Saturday night to chew the fat over Manchester United. Until then, it's just for me to say thank you once again to all three of you. Follow these guys. They put their ats so you can see them if you would like to do that. And once I find it, there it is. Have a blessed evening. See you later. Enjoy Friday. Premier League's back, baby. And we are finishing top 4. See you Saturday.